Welcome back to another new video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a build for this week's Grandmaster. This is going to be the first Grandmaster of Act 3, so we're going to be making builds for all these 3 final GMs. And today we're starting with the Corrupted. Now the Corrupted is definitely not as hard as it once was, but this build is still definitely going to help you to be able to go in there with any team that you might find in LFG and still be able to get it done. You're going to be able to deal with all the champions just by yourself, and overall just have a pretty good time in the Grandmaster. So let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. And first, let's start off by taking a look at the exotics that remain on this build. So first of all, starting off with the exotic weapon, I decided to keep it simple with the Graviton Lance, since there is some unstoppable champions in this GM. So this is going to be the way that we deal with the unstoppables, and it's also going to be the main weapon that we're going to be using most of the strike to deal damage to just pretty much all the ads. It is also great that is void damage, since there's going to be a lot of void shields in this Grandmaster as well. And a lot of void shields actually really help us, because if we have the catalyst, whenever you can break a shield, you get an overshield, adding some more to the survivability. But even if you don't have the catalyst, the weapon should still be pretty great, because of all the ad clear, all the damage, and also being able to stun champions. Now for your other weapons, for your kinetic slot, I would recommend the Lost Signal. This is going to be the way that we stun those overloads, which is the other champion in the strike, and it also builds up our Transcendence meter just crazy fast. It also is going to apply that weaken effect, so overall the Lost Signal is just amazing. It's probably my favorite weapon from last season. I've gotten so much use with this season, it is just absolutely crazy. So hopefully you guys have a good Lost Signal. If you guys do not have it yet, then you can still do this stuff from like last season and craft this thing. And for the heavy, we are going to be on a grenade launcher. It doesn't have to be the Edge Transit, I just happen to have the Edge Transit on me, so that's why I ended up running. But pretty much any heavy grenade launcher will do very well, and you're going to be able to melt pretty much any champion with them. Now moving on to the subclass, we have my favorite super, and it's just fantastic in the strike. It can stun both champions, the unstoppables and the overloads, and it also works really well with our subclass item, meaning that we can use it a lot more often. You already get back your silence scope pretty fast, but with the class item giving us basically half of it every single time, we're going to be able to spam this thing like crazy. For a dodge, I recommend that you go with the marksman dodge. It gives us the dodge back a lot faster, and we also get rid of our weapons with our dodge. Our dodge actually does matter quite a bit in this Grandmaster, because we do have class warfare. Meaning that after we use our dodge, we get some damage resistance as well as some extra damage, so it's always good to have a faster dodge, so we can trigger that more often. For our melee and our grenade, we're just using the stasis ones. They can freeze, they can slow, they can stun both champions, they're just like the perfect ones. I kinda wish the Hunter had more choices when it comes to like good melees and grenades, but the stasis ones are just so much better, unless you're like running a specific build, that is pretty much are always the go-tos. Now for the aspects, we're going to run a mix of Threat Spectre and Style Executioner, which is going to be adding to our survivability and also taking advantage of the fact that we want to use our dodge a lot. With all the stasis abilities that we have and some of the other things that we're going to be doing with the artifact, we're always going to be applying debuffs, meaning that Style Executioner is always going to be getting procced, meaning that we're going to be able to go invisible quite a lot. This is going to add to our survivability, just making it easier to reposition and also just staying alive. The Threat Spectre is also going to be helping our survivability, but in a bit of a different way, since it's going to be grabbing the aggro of the enemies. So you always want to put the Threat Spectre like not where you are, maybe like out in the open, so the enemies can't target it instead of you. And whenever you use your class ability, you're also going to get that damage resistance and that extra damage, meaning that not only are you going to be less likely to die, but you're also going to be doing more damage. And this is even going to be helping your teammates, since it does grab aggro from the enemies, so they're also not going to be getting targeted as well while the enemies are shooting at the decoy. Now for the fragments, we have Facet of Protection to get some damage resistance whenever we're surrounded. We also have the Facet of Solitude, which is going to be applying Sever to enemies, weakening them and making them do less damage. And also whenever we kill a Sever target, that also triggers our invisibility. So it gives us another way of being invisible and also helps with survivability. Next, we're going to have the Facet of Dawn. This gives us Radiant whenever we get some power melee hits, and if we get some power melee kills, it gives us and our allies Radiant. Next up, we're going to have the Facet of Sacrifice, and this is going to give us bonus Darkness Transcendence energy whenever we have either Arc, Solar, or Void buffs. So if we're invisible, or we have Radiant, we're gonna get a bit of extra Darkness Transcendence energy. And the final one is gonna be the Facet of Awakening. Whenever we deal some damage with light or darkness damage, it will create elemental pickups of that damage type. Since most of the damage we're gonna be doing is gonna be Void or Stasis, we're gonna get either Void Breaches or Stasis Shards, which both are gonna be pretty good. But the main one that I think we're gonna be making is gonna be Void Breaches, and that is the one that we want to make, since a lot of the mods that were running on the artifact have to deal with Void, letting us get the power, constant weakens, and even some bit of extra damage on pretty much anything. And we'll get a little bit more into the artifact a bit, but first we gotta talk about the armor mods and also the exotic that we're running. Now for the mods here, we don't really have anything special. They're gonna be pretty simple. We have Siphon and also Special Ammo Scout as well as Finder. Usually we can use our grenade launcher a little more. For the gauntlets, we're gonna have Grenade Kickstart, so we can use our grenade more often. Bolstering Detonation, so we get some class ability when doing damage with a grenade. And also Fastball, so we can throw our grenade a little bit farther away. Now, you don't really have to have Fastball. As you can see, we do have a bit more energy, so you can go for something else. Like if you want to go for Firepower to get some more orbs, that's fine. Or if you want to go for a loader, that we find as well. Now for the chest piece, you pretty much just want to go with the normal resistances. Whatever the threat is, that's pretty much what you want to go for. You want to have a threat, plus either Concussive Dampener or Sniper Resistance, but I would say Concussive Dampener just kind of works all the time, so this is the one that I recommend. For the boots, we're going to have just Better Already, Orbs Restoration, Absolution, pretty normal things. Whenever we pick up orbs, we get our abilities back, as well as getting some health back. I actually would say Recuperation is better than Better Already, so go with Recuperation instead. And lastly, for the class item, we're going to have Outreach, Bomber, as well as Reaper. We're going to be using our class ability a lot, so might as well make some orbs every time we use it. And then it also is going to give us back our grenade and our melee. And lastly, for the actual class item, you want to run the Spirit of Galanor. Now, Galanor is fantastic on the Stay Super. It essentially always gives you half of your super as long as you stay alive while the tornado's like doing its thing. So that means that we can spam our super a lot. And that's pretty much like the only perk that you need here. So make sure that you spam that super as much as you can. And as long as you have this, the build is going to work. This is like pretty much like the only requirement for the build when it comes to like the class item. The second perk doesn't really matter. You can go with pretty much anything. But since we are using a Void primary, Gerfalcon works just fine. Especially since we are going to have a lot of invisibility already. So if we have Gerfalcon plus Galanor, then this is the perfect one. If you have the one that also gives you Woven Mail whenever you throw a grenade, that is just escaping my mind right now, that also works fine. Pretty much anything in this second perk will work fine. There's some that work better than others, but as long as you have Galanor, it pretty much is going to work. And lastly, we're going to be here at the artifact. We do have some new mods that just got added this act, and we actually are using some of them. So first of all, for this first column, we got Unstoppable Pulse, we got Overload Breach Grenade Launcher, and we also have Authorized Mods Grenade, so the mods cost less. But the ones that really matter are going to be here at the end, like Supernova. Whenever you pick up a Void Breach, the next shot will do a Weakening Pulse. The Weakening Pulse is actually kind of big, so it does affect a lot of enemies. And every time that you pick up a Void Breach, we're going to be applying it with our Graviton. And after we kill some things that are weakened, then we're going to get some more Void Breaches thanks to Power from Pain. And Power from Pain will also give us the power on top of it if we kill multiple enemies while they're weakened. So if you do like a Weakening Pulse at a group of enemies and then the Graviton just kills them all, then that gives us the power and we get all the great things from the power, like the health regen on kills and also the extra grenade energy. We're also going to be using Concussive Reload for the weakening effect, and also whenever we weaken champions with our grenade launcher, it is also going to auto reload itself, just allowing you to shoot it pretty much twice back to back. The ones down here are basically going to be to get armor charge. The thick of it will make it so whenever we're surrounded and we get some kills, we get some armor charge. And Curative Orbs makes it so whenever we break a shield for the first time, we get some Orbs of Power. There's a lot of shields, so this can actually proc quite a lot. We also are going to have some of the new mods down here, like Void Renewal, while the power is active, Void Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create Void Breaches, so that just gives us even more Void Breaches, so we can activate Supernovas and more, and so we can use Power from Pain even more. And lastly, we also have All Gods Right. After we pick up a Void Breach, whenever we deal Void damage, it basically makes it rain projectiles, adding a little bit more extra damage. And that's pretty much it. It just adds a little bit more extra damage to whatever you're shooting. It essentially makes killing whatever you hit with the Supernova just a lot easier, whether it's a champion, a big enemy, or maybe just a group of enemies. So those are the mods that we're running. They're all like Void Focus or Grenade Launcher Focus, and they all work pretty well together. I really kind of like the artifact, the way that it ended up being. We definitely went a lot more in a direction that I was not expecting with the Void. I pretty much just expected us to get like more stasis mods, but you know, I kind of like the way that we ended up going. But with that, you guys pretty much have all of the build, and like always, there's gonna be a dim link in the comments below and also in the description in case you guys wanna auto-equip this build and give it a try in this week's DM. I definitely recommend it. It definitely makes dealing with everything in the Grandmaster just a lot easier, and I'm sure they'll help you get your completion if you're trying to get the weapon this week or you're just trying to get your seal done. But hopefully you guys enjoy it, hopefully you guys like it. I'm thinking that if you see another link, an extra link in the comments below, that is to a full gameplay of me actually using this build. I don't know if it'll be up by the time like the build is up, but if not, in a couple hours, it'll probably be up after that. So thank you all for watching, thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.